Good evening, welcome to a Sunday night special of Last Bell Boxing. Me and Andy will try not to be too smug this evening. We're going to be covering the Leigh Wood DAZN card. We'll cover the BT and the Sky Sports on Thursday. But we thought we'd jump on for a bit of a special regarding Leigh Wood. So, Andy, you was here last night, so I'm going to hand it over to you. Take it away.
Yeah, I'm running a little bit on fumes, mate. I'm pretty knackered. I tried doing the round robin and drove up there and then drove back the same night and didn't get home till like 4:15. World's smallest violin playing for me. So I'm running on fumes a little bit, so bear with me. Okay, so you guys might not have seen the Before the Bell show. I got in there quite early and saw all of the card. So I'll quickly run through how I think the prospects looked on the show. Starting off with Aaron Bowen from Coventry. It was his second fight. We saw his first fight on the first Wood Lara show, and he was very impressive. He was in against this guy's record didn't look very good. Ajaz Venka. His record didn't look very good, but he was really tough and game as well. He was throwing back. And Aaron Bowen had to answer a few questions, which is good at this stage in his career. I quite like that, Daz, early on. When, a fighter's come out of a really good amateur pedigree, come into the big lights of professional boxing, and he's got it put on him a little bit by a bit of a journeyman. But he come through it, and he's going on to bigger and better things. I'm absolutely sure of that. Okay.
I think he's a bit special, that Aaron Bowen, isn't it? You know.
Yeah, he was maybe a little bit flat, maybe. He left himself open a little bit too much at times and got caught with some big shots, but took them pretty well. But yeah, I think you're right, Carl. I think he's going places.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up, we'll go with Campbell Hatton. Coming to the big Blue Moon as always. He was in against Michael Bullock. Again, I've seen improvements in Campbell Hatton. He's looking more mature in the ring now. He's not rushing his work. He's taking his time. He looks more and more like his dad every fight, his style, which is not a bad thing. I don't ever think he's going to reach the heights of Ricky, to be honest. The amateur pedigree that Ricky had helped him massively when he went into the pros. And Campbell obviously didn't have that. But decent win. William Crawler on his debut. A little bit of a scare. He got put on his arse. I think it was maybe a little bit of a shot on the slip. But because of that, he then panicked a little bit and he started rushing his work and ended up being in a scrap that he didn't really need to be in, because he's clearly much better than he showed. And I think he pretty much said that post-fight. And then the last one, which was a little bit of a surprise, was Aqib Fayaz against Costin Ion. This Costin Ion's obviously, pretty durable, and it showed. Fayaz was doing brilliant. The first 3 or 4 rounds, schooling Ion, looking very, very slick, very impressive. And then he got caught and got put down. And from that point on, it became a bit of a dogfight, and only ended up winning the fight by 1 point. A few people around me were saying that he got a very lucky ref's decision there. I think, it could have gone either way score-wise. But he'll learn a lot from that fight. Again, he's one of these. He's kind of got a bit of a, the Mayweather defensive style, where he kind of hides behind the shoulder, defends with his.
Show me that again. Show me that shoulder roll again. Go on, show me again.
I'm working on fumes. You know what I mean, though. You know what I mean? Froch used to do it a little bit as well.
How did
Where
Froch
he
do
defends
it?
behind that shoulder, and you know, he don't fight with his hands up. He fights with that kind of cross arm style, but very slick. And there's stuff to work on in that gym. I'm sure Jamie Moore will have him in there. You know, all pleasantries in front of the cameras, but I'm sure Jamie Moore won't be happy with some of the stuff that he saw. But very skillful, very good quality. He'll do all right in professional boxing, I'm sure. That moves him to 12-0. Right. Moving on to a fight that I think we all thought was going to be really close and really tough and a real barnstormer, and that's Danny Ball against Jamie Robinson. Carl, we've seen Jamie Robinson in action, and I know you have as well, Daz.
Hmm.
And he's always been really tough, really durable. Carl, tell me what you think went wrong with Jamie Robinson.
I hate to say it, but I just think there's levels to the game, and I just think Jamie's probably not quite good enough to mix it with Danny Ball. Danny Ball looked by far the better fighter. Not taking nothing away from Jamie because he's tough, but that was a tough fight. He took some shots in that fight, but it did smack me that there's a bit of a gulf between them in terms of level of boxing, in my view.
Daz, how did you see the fight go? Because for the first couple of rounds, I think Jamie was in the fight.
Yeah, it was in it, but I just got to echo what Carl said. Really, he just looked the better boxer, better technical boxer. You know, it looked a bit like level above. I don't like saying that, to be fair, but he did. He looked. Danny was impressive, to be fair. Danny's a good fighter.
He was.
He looks like. Listen, I'm not saying Jamie can't win an English title. Do you know what I mean? Against the right opponent, but I think against someone who's technically good and who's got a little bit of power, he's maybe gonna struggle.
Maybe a little bit too hard to judge on Danny Ball because he's going places, mate.
I think Danny Ball's could be a British champion. Do you know what I mean? Danny Ball could be British champion.
Game as they come. Jamie was.
Oh, very game, but you need a little bit more, don't you?
Yeah.
You know.
He nearly got stopped. Was it round 2 or round 3 when they had that really big exchange, didn't they? Where they were throwing bombs at each other.
He got it with a cracking left hook.
He did, and
showed his metal, mate, to survive.
Oh,
yeah.
That would have stopped a lot of fighters, and he still come out swinging after that, even though he was properly buzzed as well.
As well, I'll give Danny Ball credit in that round as well, because Danny Ball emptied the tank almost. So got to give credit to Danny Ball's conditioning, because Danny Ball saw he'd got him hurt and went for him.
It was a massive opportunity for both fighters, wasn't it? Massive.
Yeah.
What I was impressed with, Daz, was how calm Danny Ball was for the whole fight.
Yeah, he was very relaxed. Very just, took it in his stride, and that's, he just looked like he got total confidence in his boxing ability.
Yeah.
And what he was capable of.
Okay.
One thing I would say, Andy, I don't quite know where it leaves Jamie, to be honest. I don't quite know where it leaves him, because he's kind of got to come again, hasn't it?
It's a difficult thing. It's a difficult thing when you've got to that English level to then drop back down to small halls and fight on much smaller cards. It must be difficult as a fighter to sometimes get up for that. That's the job of his coach.
Yeah, can he stay motivated?
That's the job of his coach, to get him back in that frame of mind, because he can come again. I agree with Daz. Danny Ball is an hard yardstick to match Jamie's level against, because I think he's much better than English level. He's got so much more in the tank, Danny.
But there were no easy fights at that level, were there?
No, but Daz is right in that Jamie can win an English title against a different opponent.
I think he's probably better off going down to area level.
Yeah.
You know, get a few fights at area level. Listen, there's a cracking fight that could be made with Central Area welterweight champ Domont. If Domont comes through Cameron KO, I mean, what a fight that'd be.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But then I think Domont, you know, Domont's definitely English level. So
how does that? So just you'll know better than me, Daz. I've always wondered this. How does it work? Because you've obviously got area titles.
yeah,
Midland area, Central area, Southern title.
yeah.
How does it work? Is it where you train from, or is it where you're based?
Do you know what, mate? I think sometimes, if I believe rightly, it's where you were born.
Right, because he's a Southern lad, Jamie is.
But then it could also be where you're licensed.
Yeah, because he's Arlo, but he's also he's out of Derbyshire, isn't he?
Yeah, so it's like, is that where he lives now?
Bolsover, I believe.
Yeah,
so
it's where he lives. It's where he's trained. He's obviously he's under Scott Callow's. He's under Scott Callow's banner as a promoter.
Yeah, so it's probably where you're based. To be fair,
right. So it'd be the Midland area rather than the Central, then, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking. I mean, he's ranked 24th, Jamie. So, you know, would he want? I mean, there's an interesting man in front of him, but he's not had that many fights. Sean Noakes, but you know, would Noakes? What would that be? Something that Noakes' team would think? Yeah, we'll have that. I think I won't be putting Jamie in hard fights. To be fair, now I'd give him a couple of decent fights.
Yeah,
but let him rebuild and let him come again. And like I say, I mean, Dom may well, you know, depending on what happens with Dom and Cameron KO on the 15th of July, you know, if Dom wins it, Dom may vacate Central Area to go for English. If Cameron wins it, that could be a local defence, a local, you know, sort of local derby. You know what I mean? There's options for him, but I'd give him a decent little 8 rounder. Me, you know, let him get some right, but nothing too taxing. I think he deserves a bit of a. He's paid his dues, hasn't he? Do you know what I mean? So he deserves a bit of a, you know, let's rebuild a little bit, have a bit of a rest, and then come again.
It's just when we can get up for it, though, Daz. That's what worries me, because he's had a taste of the bright lights, hasn't he?
Well, that's where your team's got to come in, mate.
Yeah,
that's where your team's got to come in, because if you look who's above him, I mean, he didn't shame himself.
No.
You know, at that level. So you put him in. I mean, you've got like obviously Mackinson, Tekimar. I'd say Echo, Tekimar. I mean, Congo for Harry Scarf. I mean, I won't be putting him in with any of them top 10. I won't. You know, after a tough fight like that, and he's paid his dues, it's like, you know, give him another chance to come again. Chuck him in another tough fight, and yeah, he could win it. But what damage is it going to do to him? You know,
I'm just quickly looking at the rankings. Okay, so River Wilson Bent is the current middleweight Midland area champion.
He's too big.
That's a real tough fight. He's not. He's not.
It is
middleweight.
because he's a welterweight.
What an idiot. So Owen Cooper. Owen Cooper's the current Midland area welterweight champion. It's interesting looking at this.
Yeah, that could be. Yeah. Sorry, I got that thing. I thought he would he'd have been good for Central, but no, it'll be Midlands.
The Midland wants it, so that's a possible fight. I don't see him stepping up to super welter, because that'd be Ryan Ambrose and Ryan Amos. And he's real tough and real big at that weight.
It'd be some fight though, wouldn't it?
It would.
That'll be
But
a
I can't.
war,
I mean, the thing is, they both got the same promoter, so
yeah,
it's not going to happen.
it's not going. They probably
Scott
sparred
Pillow's not
him.
going to do that.
No.
Okay, swiftly moving on then, guys, to a fight that was 1 week in the making after Terry Harper's fight fell through the week before on the Irish card. Ivana Habazin jumped in, who we all said was a real tough, durable opponent and potentially a bit of a banana skin for Terry Harper. What kind of stood out for me in this fight was I think they were both a little bit tentative and didn't really put it out, didn't really go for it, either of them. That's not to say it was a boring fight. It was a decent fight. Terry Harper won convincingly, really, but I don't think it really showed either of them in the best of the form. Carl, I'll come to you. I know that over the years you've kind of been not necessarily the biggest fan of Terry Harper. What was your opinion about it?
Yeah, I sat there last night thinking I probably don't give her enough credit, to be honest. She's probably a little bit better than I thought she was. However, I still stick to what I say. There's just something missing for me. I can't quite put my finger on what it is. For her to go to the top of that weight class, there's something missing. She did the job last night. Like I said, she's probably a little better than I thought she was, but I'm still not convinced. I can't put my finger on it. You know, when you just look at a fight and you think, yeah, very good in that department, but you just can't put your finger on there's something. There isn't a full jigsaw there. There's something missing. But you know, got the job done, didn't she? And there's only one fight, isn't there?
They called it out, didn't they? They called it out after Eddie Hearn's talking about why can't they just sit down and talk about it?
It sounds like it's coming from the other side of the fence of problems, don't it? I know Eddie Hearn's going to say that, but I think
but he is, isn't it?
I think I can put my finger on where I think the blockage might be, though.
Why don't you just come out and say it then?
I think it's Joe Gallagher. So I think the money's there. I think it's the biggest money fight that she's got in that division. You know, it would sell on either platform. So I really, you know.
Then if that's the case, then Natasha should be basically Joe Gallagher works for Natasha.
Correct.
Natasha's Joe Gallagher's boss.
Yeah.
So basically, then Natasha should be saying, "Oh, listen. Let's be fair. Joe Gallagher should have no call in whether this fight happens or not. It should be a case of Terry wants it, Tasha wants it. If Eddie Hearn's willing to make it, Tasha's promoted by Boxer, isn't she?
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And if Shalom and Hearn are prepared to make it, don't matter what Steffi Bull and Joe Gallagher think of each other.
The problem you've got though, guys, you just hit the nail on the head. Are the two promoters prepared to come to an agreement? Because Natasha Jonas holds the more of the prizes, let's say. She's going to want it on Sky Sports.
Yeah.
Eddie Hearn's not going to let Terry Harper go to Sky Sports.
Show it on both then.
He's going to want it on his own.
He might do, though, because he has done other fighters if they pay enough money.
Yeah, I'm not convinced he would for this fight.
Listen, if you truly believe your fighter is going to win, let him fight in the backyard.
I think he would. If the money's there, I think he would.
So why has the fight not been made then, Carl?
I don't know. I think Hearn would, though, because he's done it with other fighters.
By the sounds of it, both girls want it.
Why is Joe Gallagher stopping it? What is Joe Gallagher's reasoning for stopping this fight?
Yeah, but who's saying he is? That's just Cole's opinion.
That's what I mean. If this is the case, what power has Joe Gallagher got to stop Natasha fighting for undisputed?
Maybe he thinks that Natasha's not being treated with the respect she deserves to be. I mean, let's have it right, Daz. Let's have it right. After that first fight, there might be a little bit of bad taste. Because after that first fight, when almost everybody thought Natasha had won.
Yeah.
They refused to give her a rematch, and Terry Harper went a different way.
Yeah.
Now that's Terry. That's up to Terry Harper. That's her choice to do that. She went a different way, and Natasha never got the shot. But then Natasha was left out in the wilderness for the best part of a year with nothing.
Yeah.
And it's taken for her to move to Sky Sports to get these world title opportunities.
I mean, it's a given for me that Tasha should get the lion's share. She brings more to the table.
I agree. But Eddie Hearn's not going to wear that, mate.
No, but you see, I mean, I agree with that in the Fury Usyk. I can see why. I can see why Fury want. I mean, it's horses for courses. I mean, Terry Harper's
I think
not
there's
the
a slight
character
difference.
that Fury is and stuff. But yeah, I mean, in take Fury and Usyk out of the equation, Natasha's got, most of the titles. I think she's got 3 of them, hasn't she?
Yep.
Terry's got 1. I think I don't really know Terry, to be fair, but personality-wise, Tasha seems like she's a bit more out there. Do you know what I mean? And so Terry seems a nice girl and that, but it's not one of them where it's gonna, it's gonna ignite pre-fight. I don't think it's just a good fight for Undisputed, isn't it?
There's more likely to. Excuse me. There's more likely to be arguments on that.
With the trainers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and listen, let's be fair. That's bull, innit? Come on. Do you know what I mean? That's a load of rubbish. I mean, it's not about them two, is it?
No.
It shouldn't be.
Listen, you truly believe in your fighter, get him in, and let him. I'll stand by my point. I think Terry Harper's too heavy.
You do.
Don't think she should ever be a super welter. I mean,
you can argue that about Jonas as well, though, couldn't you?
I think Natasha looks more comfortable at it.
I personally think she's too high as well.
Yeah, she probably is, but I think she's more.
It's interesting. It's interesting, isn't it?
I think Tasha's more comfy with it than what Terry is. I think
it's interesting that they both moved from probably their optimum division in making weight. I think Terry was struggling at that weight, and I think she looked. Her best weight is probably lightweight. But it's interesting that they both moved up there and they've both been good enough to win world titles.
Do you not think, though, that she was struggling with weight only when fights got hard? Against class opposition, to be fair.
No, I don't, Daz. I'll tell you for why. Because
so in that case, then
I think
she were kept at weight too long. Then.
Yeah, potentially. Well, the thing is, she had that injury, didn't she? She had that hand injury. Yeah. Was it hand or elbow? She had a long layoff, and then she comes straight out of that into the Baumgardner fight. And she didn't look right walking to the ring, mate. She looked like a bit of a zombie, like rabbit in headlights.
Yeah. Well, then, things like that alarm me because you don't just look like that on your ring walk. No, and that is going to be in week or 2 leading up to it. If you're killing yourself,
there's still question marks over Terry Harper at this weight, isn't there? Around is she world class or not? There's still, like I said, there's still some.
She's world class, because she's got a world title.
But her resume doesn't impress me, if I'm honest with you. First time she stepped up and fought Baumgardner, who's a world class fighter, she got took out. Just because she's got a world title doesn't mean she's world class, does it? Because who's the champion she took it off?
Ranking.
Is Anna Rankin world class? With all due respect.
No, I mean Anna Rankin were poor.
That's the only point I've made. So,
well, the thing is though, Cole, the world class in their division. Who are you comparing them against? Because there's no one else in that division apart from.
It doesn't mean you're world class. It doesn't mean you're world class because you hold a world title. So Charles Martin's world class then.
Oh, no, come on, you're being ridiculous there.
No,
he's the worst heavyweight champion of all time, and you know that.
Anna Rankin is not world class. So the jury's still out for me. Just because you're on the world title doesn't mean you're world class.
The problem you've got in female boxing, and we've said it a number of times, is currently the depth isn't there. So you can only put Terry Harper up against who the world level fighters are in her division.
But we don't know the world level, do we? Because you hold a belt. My point I'm making is she an elite fighter? I don't think so. I don't think she's
In comparison to say Chantal Cameron, obviously not. In comparison to Savannah Marshall, probably not. But in comparison to other fighters at her weight class, yes, she is.
I mean, Jonas is rated above her and Breakers is rated above her.
That's it. That's what I'm saying.
So to me, the next fight really has to be
one of them two.
It's got to be Jonas or Breakers on it.
I think Brackhurst will get the fight next.
Yeah,
because obviously it wasn't her fault. She pulled out that fight in Ireland. I think she'll get the Terry Harper fight if they don't make the Jonas fight. Yeah. The thing that worries me, Daz, and I mentioned this on Thursday, if Terry Harper and Jonas doesn't happen, Natasha Jonas is going to have to try and find a world-level fight somewhere else. And that's going to mean either a moving up or a moving down.
Yeah, I mean...
So if she moves down, it's McCaskill.
Could be Shields, couldn't it?
If she moves up, it's Shields.
I think she'd be better off going down. I mean, listen, it could be Sandy Ryan.
Potentially.
Jonas v. Sandy Ryan.
Yeah, potentially.
Because I think she could make welter easily. So
yeah, they both could make welter. The Sandy Ryan fight's a good fight.
You see, I don't understand why she's gone from super feather to super welter.
Because that's the only place you could get a world title shot, mate.
It's true. The only place you'll get opportunities.
Yeah. Well, so really, then you think she's sort of avoided lightweight and light welter and welter then?
Who are you talking about now?
I'm on about Terry Harper.
Jonah.
No, I'm on about Terry Harper. I'm on about why has she gone from super feather, struggling at super feather, to super welter?
You can kind of. Well, she didn't. She had a fight or two fights at lightweight.
All right. So if she struggled with that, welter.
She didn't struggle with that. She looked very good.
Why she not stayed there then?
Because she got a world title. She got offered a world title shot, and she took it, and she won the world title. So in reality, they've made the right decision because she's now a two-weight world champion.
But she's way out of her weight division.
I know she is. But who else is going to stop her in that division? There's no one else apart from Brackhurst or Jonas. That's my point. Is that there's no one else
I get what you're saying, but it sort of dilutes the achievement, doesn't it? A little bit.
I don't think it does. I think it improves the achievement. If she's gone out of her weight level, above her weight level, fighting fighters that are much bigger than her.
But against poor.
But against poor fighters, mate. Anna Rankin were terrible, mate.
Anna Rankin was poor on the night, but Anna Rankin's done well against really good level world champions.
She was terrible.
She was poor on the night. I agree.
Terrible.
She's better than she showed on that night, definitely. Is she world level at other levels, at other weight divisions? Probably not. And that's where Terry Harper and Natasha Jonas might find it difficult if they don't fight each other.
What I don't get is obviously she's fought at lightweight and she was strong at lightweight. Right. She was stay there. You've got one of the biggest fights there, Katie Taylor. Telling me she wouldn't have been able to go in with Katie.
Well,
she can't.
I don't understand why that opportunity never arose then.
What would you rather do? Would you rather be bashing up people who are inferior to you for world titles? Or would you rather be mixing it with best, daring to be great?
Because she ain't good enough. That's the truth.
Well, hey guys, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know, that's why I said it.
yeah. She ain't good enough to get between the roads with Katie Taylor.
But I see your point, Daz. Jonas has done it. She's gone in with Taylor.
Yeah.
Do I think that Steffi Bull and Terry Harper refused to fight Katie Taylor? No, I don't. Was it ever offered to him? Probably not. Because Katie Taylor had got, with all due respect to Terry Harper, probably got bigger fish to fry at the time.
Yeah.
So the fight probably never come about. And maybe Terry Harper and Steffi Bull have have gone to Eddie Hearn and gone, we can't hang around at this weight. We can't hang around. If you're not going to give us a world title shot against Taylor, what else can you give us? And then he's come up with a world title shot he's come up with, and she's gone and won it. The same thing can be said, exactly the same thing can be said for Jonas.
The thing is, though, mate, right? I mean, looking at the lightweight rankings, there were other big fights there for her. You know what I mean? You've got Michaela Mayer, you've got, Lascano, Mosley, Rhiannon Dixon's, Standard, Caroline Dubois, at number 50. You got some big fights there that could have probably been made. I mean, probably not Dubois, because obviously
she wasn't around, was she, at the time?
No, she weren't around, but
I hear what you're saying, mate. But if you get offered an opportunity to fight for a world title and you think you can win it, you're not going to turn it down and say, no, I need to stay this way. It's not going to happen.
No. I said, no, I guess not. No, I get what you're saying.
And she's obviously world champion at that weight now. She's not going to give that up unless she feels like she's treading water, maybe. Maybe she does have to go down a weight and fight McCaskill or up a weight and fight Shields. But if she doesn't fight Shields, obviously she's going to get battered because she's way too small.
To be fair, mate, if Terry fights Brickus next, or if she doesn't, it don't come off. We spoke about Jonas moving up or down. Terry could do that, but Terry v Sandy Ryan.
That's what But this is what I'm saying. For either of them to go up or down, it's McCaskill or it's Clarissa Shields.
Should we get in Brackhurst at a good time because she's aging, isn't she?
Yeah.
So if I was in Terry Harper's matchmaking team, I'd be looking at that fight.
Yeah, definitely.
I'd be keeping away from Sandy Ryan and people like that because she's just not good enough.
Yeah.
Do you think Jonas beat Sandy Ryan?
I rate Jonas more than I do Harper. That's a tough one, isn't it?
Sandy Ryan's naturally big. Very, very tough and very strong.
It'd be a great fight.
Yeah, it would be a great fight.
So on that, you think Jonas has got a better chance than Harper?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Because I think Jonas knows her way around the ring more than Terry Harper does, and she can work styles out a bit more. She's much more in and out on her feet than Terry Harper seems a little bit flat-footed at times.
She's just a better boxer.
So she's got much more chance. It's funny, isn't it? This is just how good Sandy Ryan is, and how quickly she's rose. Because 6 months ago, we wouldn't have been talking about Sandy Ryan in this category. She's outstanding in my opinion, and she's very capable of beating either of them. But it's for me, it's much more 50-50 with Jonas than it is with Terry Harper. I think she beats Terry Harper.
What, Jonas and Harper's 50-50?
No. I think Sandy Ryan is 50-50 with Jonas, but I think Sandy Ryan beats Terry Harper at this weight division. For what we've already said, in that both girls, Terry Harper and Jonas, really they're fighting above the weights. So you get it's that famous saying, isn't it? A good big and beats a good little, and that's kind of the way I see it with those fights. Okay, I think we've done that one to death, guys. Moving on, Jack Catterall, Dara Foley. Now,
what a performance!
I think we were all guilty of dismissing Dara Foley in this fight before on Thursday. I think we were all saying Jack Catterall was going to win by knockout, blah blah, and or it was going to be a very wide points decision. I think was the other result we come out with. I'm going to eat a little bit of humble pie here. I know it was a very wide points decision, but Dara Foley is tough as they come.
But how good was Jack Catterall's jab
Oh,
when he's been out of the ring for God knows how long?
He's been out the ring. He's been out the ring for over a year. He's had 3 camps where fights have been pulled. If that's not going to do something to your mental toughness, I don't know what is. He's never got the rematch for the undisputed title that he deserves, and he's not going to now, unless he wins world titles and gets that, over a period of time. He should have got it straight away. That never.
I thought Catterall was absolutely class in this fight.
Oh, mate, and seeing him live as well, mate. You kind of get a different picture, don't you, than on TV?
Yeah.
Because you see a lot of movement, a lot of what's going on. He's outstanding. He's thinking all the time when he's in there, setting traps. Oh, I'm going to go as far as to say I think he's the best in the division, and I'm a massive.
Well, they're talking about fighting Regis Prograde next, aren't they?
I'm a massive Josh Taylor fan, Carl, as you well know. I've said it numerous times on the show. A lot of people have said, "Oh, it's a flash in the pan." That Jack Catterall fight with Josh Taylor was a flash in the pan. It was Jack Catterall's FA Cup final. No, I can absolutely, sincerely say right now, Jack Catterall is as good as that fight, if not better.
I do like Progress though.
Progress very good as well. That's a very good fight against Catterall.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, Catterall wins because his ring smarts are just too good.
So.
But Darafole, let me just touch on him a little bit. He was getting schooled in the early half of the fight, and Catterall was landing clean, and this kid was eating him up and coming back at him. He's real tough, Darafole. He's not quite at that level, but he isn't far off. Wouldn't surprise me if you see Eddie Hearn bring him back over again for a number of fights. I think Eddie Hearn was quite impressed with him. I saw him chatting to him after the fight. It wouldn't surprise me if there's a deal going on there. There might have already been one in place. He's obviously a talker. You saw what happened in the build-up. Yeah. That sells tickets and that builds fights and that makes that puts bums on seats and gets people to sit and watch at home, don't it? But Jack Catterall, wow. It's criminal. He's not a world champion. I'll say that. Criminal.
I think a good fight for Catterall is Ramirez next.
Yeah, good chat.
Yeah, I think Ramirez is a good fight for him.
Who's Ramirez backed by? He's a Golden Boy.
I think it is Golden Boy.
Yeah. I mean, there's the other guy above him as well, Barbosa Jr.
Who?
Arnold Barbosa Jr.
Right.
I mean, Catterall's going to get even better the more he's out and active and sharper. I mean, And
I'll say this as well. I text Carl when Catterall came into the ring. The noise in that arena. At least half of the crowd was there for Catterall alone. He sells out an arena by himself. He's an headliner now.
But only from Chorley, isn't it?
Sorry?
It's only from Chorley down the road.
Yeah, down the road. Ideal. It'll be headlining shows at Manchester Arena in the very near future, probably against Prograde. He's got it all, Jack Catterall. And
he just can't talk. That's anything he hasn't got. He's not a great talker outside the ring. He admits that himself. So
some people just aren't, are they?
No, but he can certainly do it in the ring.
What would you do with him, Cole?
I would get him nice and active and get him in with the likes of Prograde and get plenty of fights under his belt before he starts going up to that world level at that weight.
Fighting Prograde is world level.
Yeah, but you know what I mean though. Prograde's world level. You're right, but I think he's a great. I probably won't go Prograde next.
I mean, I'd go Ramirez. I
couldn't believe how sharp his jab was.
I mean, arguably, Prograde beat Josh Taylor.
Close fight.
Yeah, I don't think he did. It was a close fight though.
Yeah, I had him by a round. I had him beating him by a round. But
It was a very close fight, and
Yeah.
there was certain rounds you could
But
score.
it's a
either way.
good
I
job.
agree.
It's a good job Jack Cattrall's got Matchroom behind him now, because he's in the who needs him club a little bit at the minute, and that's why I believe he's struggling to get fights.
The worrying thing in the year that he's been inactive, he's had 3 promoters.
Yeah, he's
Probellum,
with the best now, isn't he?
Sky Sports, and now DAZN. Probellum did absolutely nothing for him, and they had Prograis on the books at the time as well.
Yeah.
So that's a mystery why that fight didn't happen straight away.
One thing about Earn though, Earn's very good.
Gone under, mate.
Gone under.
Eddie Earn will build him, won't he? You know, I know he's very good at what he does, Eddie Earn, into when he gets a fight.
Yeah. If the money train that is DAZN cannot get fights for Jack Cattrall, or pull big fighters over to DAZN to fight Jack Cattrall, then nobody can.
He might have to go to the States. That's feasible.
It's concerning that Sky Sports didn't do anything with him. But it's weird because he kind of didn't really stay long enough. Maybe he didn't like the fact that
Ben Shalom admitted that he brought him into the boxer stable specifically to get him the Josh Taylor fight.
And that didn't happen.
Yeah, and he admitted that he couldn't deliver it. So that's why they shook hands. To be fair to Ben Shalom, he didn't stand in his way. I don't know what the fight deal was or anything like that, but you just have to admit that I can't get it over the line, and obviously Jack went on to Matchroom.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see what they do with him.
A bit like Sonny Edwards, isn't it, Andy? Sonny Edwards has gone to Matchroom, same reason, just to get them big fights and get them over the line.
Again, he was with Probellum, wasn't he? Fighting out in the Middle East was all well and good. Getting decent money is all well and good, but he's not getting the unification fights that
the profile.
Yeah, and Sonny Edwards is a massive talker as well. Look at him on social media. You know, you don't really need a promoter.
He's also a very, very good fighter.
Oh, mate, the best in the division, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But he's in a division where no one wants to fight him at the top end. That's a problem he's got.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you watch though, Cole. Now he's with his own, and the money's there.
That's my point. Yeah.
Those fights, eventually, it might take a while, but eventually those fights will get made for Sonny Edwards. And hopefully the same with Jack Cattrall. Okay. Moving swiftly on to what was a crowning night for Leigh Wood. Legendary status gets bandied about way too easily in boxing. And in my opinion, regards Nottingham, there's been some great legends down the years. Robin Hood, Brian Clough, Carl Froch. And in my opinion, after last night, and what Leigh Wood's had to go through, he's now cemented himself as a legend in Nottingham. No one's ever going to take that away from him.
I'm glad you said in Nottingham.
Yeah, he's got a long way to go to be a legend in world boxing. I get that, mate, because there's been some serious legends down the line. But in the terms of Nottingham, mate, and bearing in mind, Forest are away at Crystal Palace today, and a lot of Leigh's following are Forest fans. There was some serious noise in that arena last night for Leigh Wood. And a lot of fans. They must have found it difficult a little bit to shift the tickets because of the fact that Forest were away at Crystal Palace.
Well, it's bank holiday, so they'll be all on benders anyway, so it'll be like...
Yeah, all on benders, and the fact it wasn't in Nottingham... You know, when they have to travel to Manchester, blah, blah, and all that.
Cost of living's going to play a part.
Absolutely. But what I'm saying is, absolute props to the Forest community, the Nottingham community, even. Because it's not just Forest fans.
Nottingham boxing fans, mate. Are some of the best
Nottingham boxing fans. And they were the ones, to be fair, they were the ones that were probably made up the majority of the crowd that followed him.
Yeah, mate, and it's in top 5. I've been to a lot of fights, and probably best. It's definitely in top 5 atmosphere.
Well, you don't hear that 12th round very often, do you? when
No,
there's chanting during that 12th round. You
No,
don't often
no,
hear that from other
no.
boxing
But
fans.
the best, probably the best atmosphere I've ever seen. Well, it's definitely in top 5, like I said, is when Carl Froch fought Lucian Bute.
Yeah.
Oh, nuts.
I mean, not just because he come out to no easy way out of Rocky 4, but everyone in that, listen, it was spine tingling, mate. Everyone in crowd was singing it along to it.
Yeah.
And it's like, because let's be fair, Lucian Bute was favourite.
Oh, he was the danger man in the division at the time.
He was banging everybody out.
Yep.
And Froch were like, nah, listen.
Couldn't travel, could it?
Bring him.
Never travelled before though, had he? So that goes to part of it. I'm not putting down what Carl did, obviously.
Yeah, Froch basically said, from
Jumped
first
on him.
Yeah, welcome to Nottingham.
So the way you're talking about that Froch fight, I believe is the way that people are going to remember Leigh Wood's last few fights.
It was an absolute clinic. That's why I put him as legendary status in Nottingham, because people.
Yeah, I agree with mate. Definitely is one of the best Nottingham's produced.
So I'll save what I think about the fight till the end. Carl, I'll come to you first. Break down the performance from Leigh.
Yeah, I mean, people are saying Mauricio Lara this, and he didn't. I've had arguments on social media where people saying Lara wasn't at his best, blah blah blah. My honest opinion, Leigh Wood didn't let him get into his rhythm. Leigh Wood made him fight average, and he even dropped him. He said he was drilling that uppercut for weeks and weeks and weeks. I can't really speak too much about it because I'm just so proud of him, if I'm honest. I think it was an absolute clinic. People are saying he couldn't do it for 12 rounds. He can't stay switched on, this, that, and the other. Not naming no names, but he lives in and around workshop. All I'd say is he proved he could, and that jab to the chest, that interrupted everything all night. That jab to the chest. Every time Lara looking set his feet.
Let's be fair, though. Let's be fair to my opinion, right? And I think even you've got to agree with this. Leigh's never shown anything previous where he doesn't switch off at some point. He's
probably got a fair point.
He switched off against Michael Conlon. He switched off against other, he switched off against Lara. He does switch off. I mean, I've seen other fights where he gets it, he switches off, seems to go a bit.
He even said he did last night a couple of times, didn't he? He admitted a couple of times.
Yeah, he's never shown anything to warrant that he doesn't switch off.
But how fucking dangerous is that lad now in that division?
Mate, listen, I'm so glad I was wrong. And when what happened at weigh-in happened, I was more confident that Leigh were going to win. In fact, I put a cheeky little bet on Leigh to win on point.
Happy days.
Yeah, so I sort of thought, right, you know what? It's either going to go two ways. This, like I said earlier, it's going to go two ways. Lara's going to be an absolute beast now, even stronger, fresher, because he's not had to make this weight, which I thought were wrong. Or he's absolutely killed himself to try and make 126. He's got down as much as he can, and he's still going to suffer the effects of it.
Yeah. But Leigh Wood's got some bollocks, hasn't he? Leigh Wood's got some bollocks to know that he's coming in at that way.
Let me just come in.
He wanted the belt, didn't he? He wanted that belt. That's why
he wanted to redeem himself. And do you know what, mate? I've got utmost respect for Leigh. Honestly, I really have. And I'm from a boxing point of view, I love what he's done. I really do. But from a boxing point of view, I'm disgusted in Lara, mate.
I was just about to say that. So I just want to come back on what you just said there about weight.
Because what Leigh's done, right, is always gonna be tarnished by Lara's actions.
No, he's not. Not in my opinion.
No, but that's your opinion. But what I'm saying is, a lot of people are gonna. Not my opinion. I think Leigh boxed brilliant. Yeah, you can only beat what's in front of you. But a lot of people, I've seen it already.
I have on social media,
and I've seen it off some big names saying Lara shouldn't have been taking it. Should have moved up. Shouldn't have took the rematch. Should have moved up. His weight drained. He's this.
That's bollocks. I'm sorry. I tell you why it's bollocks. because Lara was flesher. Lara was flesher. He wasn't weight trained. He didn't even get anywhere near. So let me just say this, right? The first fight, Lara made the weight easily. It was 12 weeks ago, Daz. It's not 6 months or a year. It's 12 weeks.
But you don't know how he's lived, yeah.
He hasn't lived a life, has he? He's won a world title, earned a few quid, and gone and
okay, right.
He's
I think that's happened.
Enchiladas, hasn't he, all
right?
day?
Yeah, I think that's happened. He's been partying, blah blah. I don't care about that. That's his own unprofessionalism. But to say that he can't make weight, he's too big, is wrong.
Yeah, but the fleshiness is the water.
Well, that's exactly. So he couldn't make weight.
Yeah, but it's his own fault. That's what I'm saying to you. It's his own fault.
But what I'm saying to you is, you saying people saying he can't make the weight and he should have moved up. That's bollocks. He can make the weight. He just didn't do it because he's unprofessional.
It's not me saying it.
I know, but I'm just coming back on what you said about what you've seen on social media.
Yeah, listen, there's all sorts of things people. I'm sure Carl's seen him. I'm sure you might have seen him. People are saying, it's just sort of. He was dead at the weight and all.
You know, the one I can't believe, Daz. The one I can't believe is where people are saying to Ben Davison, "Why don't you just let Leigh Wood put a few pounds on to bring him up level with Lara? Why the fuck would you do that?"
Yeah, I saw it.
And then not win the world title back. What's the point?
Yeah.
And he's already got down to championship level, so he's only got to hold it for another half an hour while he's on them scales. And he can rehydrate anyway.
It all boils down to Lara has been an absolute dick.
He has.
Right. Now, just because people are saying things that sort of diminish what Leigh Wood's done doesn't mean that. And listen, I've seen it off people who should know better, to be fair, as well. Do you know what I mean?
That's the point I'm making.
And he didn't scrape it, Dad. I know what people are saying, Lara, nothing like he normally is and all this. Leigh Wood made him look bang average, didn't it?
Listen, the point is as well, he probably weren't what we all expected him to be. But people, if they want to blame the weight issues, that's his own fault. It's his own fault.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Listen, if he's gone in there and he's suffering effects of having a shit camp, eating wrong, and all this, that, other, that's not Leigh Wood's fault.
No.
Leigh Wood just has to do what he has to do. It's Lara that has to look at himself and his team.
He won at a canter, Daz, didn't he? Let's be honest.
Yeah, won it easy. And to be fair, mate, it's like I don't judge it on Lara's actions out of the ring. Judge it on what was in front of him.
Yeah.
Judge it on what was in front of Leigh Wood. So,
it just pisses me off sometimes, Daz, because I don't know what this lad's got to do to get some respect from certain quarters within the boxing industry.
I hear what you're saying, because do you know what? Do you know the thing is, and all what surprises me? Do you know if he was an absolute dickhead out at ring, I'd understand a little bit where.
I know, and he's not, is he? He's an absolute diamond.
Top lad, isn't it? Top lad.
I'd understand where some of it comes from. He's probably seen. I mean, you the guys have spoken to him more than I have, but he seems like he's one of the most genuine people in boxing.
Do you know what? Right, I'll tell you a little story. I was in the press conference last night, and we're hanging around. Leigh had to get his eye. He got a cut. He had to get his eye stitched. He had to go see the doctor. Maybe did a UCAD test or whatever. So it was quite a while before the press conference happened. The first thing he did when he came in was he apologised for making everyone wait.
Yeah.
He didn't need to do that. And then the last thing he did before he walked out was came up to me, shook my hand. He says, "Now you can go and sort out them troll Twitters for me." Sorry, I didn't do it the first time for you. I mean, that just tells you everything you need to know about the guy. Yeah,
it's you don't doubt it. And
he always mentions about his backing him on Twitter, doesn't he, Andy? He always mentions it.
Yeah, he doesn't forget. He doesn't. And me and Carl do kind of back for him a little bit, and we're going to because he's one of our own. He's a Nottingham fighter, and we're very proud of him. And that's why I took a little bit of offence to what Leigh said on Thursday, and it did get me, Daz. I got to admit, it riled me because I'm not having that he thinks that. Yeah, right. We're going to back around to a point.
Yeah, so he's sort of got a point, hasn't he?
No, he hasn't got a point because
he has,
I believe what I was saying, Daz.
You're not unprofessional.
Biased, yes.
You're not unprofessional, and you're not totally biased. You back your own, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. But I would have if I got anything in my head that thought Leigh Wood couldn't win on Saturday night, I would have approached that question and my choice of words on who I thought was going to win the fight differently.
Yeah, but from a boxing point of view, you can't have thought Lee's going to win 100%. Laura's not got a chance, surely.
No, but I said that on Thursday, didn't I? I said that Laura's only got to land that big shot, and it could happen again. But in my opinion, like I said on Thursday, Leigh Wood was going to do exactly what I said he was going to do.
There's nothing wrong with that. You back your hometown boy. That's
what kind of frustrates me, and we get that a lot on myself and Carl because we back Leigh Wood. We get it a lot on social media because
I'm so quiet on Twitter. Dad. I don't say boo to a goose on Twitter, yet they all come for me. I don't know why it's that.
We've got the biggest wooden spoon out there on Twitter, Carl.
I've had them all. I hear you pain, mate. I feel it. I've had all the other organisation lot. They come to me, didn't they? They come for me, didn't they?
Well, you basically what we see with the way people treat Leigh Wood, they're doing exactly the same with Nick.
Well, I put a tweet out today when someone says something about some bullshit about Leigh only won because this, that, and the other. How many times is this lad going to have to prove people wrong?
Yeah. Mate, I've seen Ben Davison getting some stick as well today.
Ridiculous, isn't it?
Well, it proved that towel was the greatest towel of recent times, wasn't it?
It was the right decision. It was the right decision to do. I mean, if he hadn't have thrown it, and Leigh might have come through it, but he also might not have.
Yeah,
big question mark there, isn't there?
You don't take chances with people. No. Listen, Ben
I've come to the conclusion, lads. I've come to the conclusion that if what Leigh Wood did on Saturday night, if that isn't enough to prove to all of these idiots that he's world level and he deserves to be world champion, and it clearly isn't because you've still got fools.
Key word there is idiots, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly right. If that isn't enough, what he did on Saturday night, what he did against Michael Conlan, what he did against Zucan, all three completely different styles as well, Daz. World level fighters, all box completely different styles, and Leigh's dealt with them. So if that doesn't prove that Leigh's world level and deserves to be world champion, then nothing's going to.
And let's not forget,
and still be world champion. These idiots, the same idiots, by the way, are still going to say he's not world level and he shouldn't be world champion. He's been gifted a world title. That idiot today on Twitter that Leigh Wood's been gifted a world championship.
What?
And let's have it right. He jumped in with Zucan. That wasn't mandated, was it? Really? No. Zucan picked him. To be fair, he had the bollocks to jump in with him.
Yep.
He jumped in with Lara. He picked Lara. No one else in that division wanted Lara.
No.
So yeah, props to him.
I mean, to be fair though, this could Leigh now needs to put this Lara thing behind him. He moves on to bigger and better. Deserves bigger nights.
That's what he deserves, don't he?
Yeah, deserves bigger nights. But this also could do Lara some good. Could give him a kick up arse, mate. Do you know what I mean? Because listen, let's be fair. He's a good fighter, isn't he? He's entertaining. So this could do him some good. He might start to prepare properly because he obviously hasn't. But whether he does or not, that's up to him. But as far as Leigh's concerned, he's put Lara to bed now. For me, he's put this to bed.
It'll be Warrington next.
Yeah, to be fair,
Warrington at the City Ground, and then he'll fight Lopez in a unification. That's my prediction.
What's Warrington done to warrant getting in with Leigh, though?
I think it's his profile.
Yeah, but to me, mate, get Lopez next at City Ground.
Yeah, see, I think
few numbers though.
Leigh No, see, that's the problem. It's not the biggest payday. So there's obviously a time frame, isn't there, for football stadium fights.
September they're talking about, aren't they?
Right. So the point I'm making is Leigh's 35 soon, and he's said himself. He admitted in the press conference that in the post-fight presser, that there's a very good chance he might only have a couple of fights left in him.
Yeah.
You know, he said it. He said it's really tough for him to make featherweight, which you can see because it's a very big featherweight, isn't it?
You can see that on the scales, couldn't you, on Friday?
Yeah. But he obviously dehydrates right. He does the right things because he's very strong on fight night. But it's like, if he's saying it, then that's probably the case. So there's 2 fights to be made potentially, and that is a City Ground fight, which is what he wants next, because that won't get made in the winter because obviously it's outdoors. So it needs to be September is the soonest date, really. In reality, he needs to have, because he's got to have a bit of time off, and then he's got to have camp. So it's the soonest. It's the sooner. So the first date, really, September is what he can get. That can only really be against Warrington, because why would you not? If you're going to have a fight at the City Ground, why would you not use the narrative of Leeds against Forest to sell the fight? You're going to want you. You know, you're talking 35,000.
Yeah,
potentially. I think the ground holds 30, and then you got the pitch seats. Talking maybe 35,000. What sort of an atmosphere would that be, split between Forest and Leeds fans?
A naughty one, that's what it'll be.
But it'll be outstanding, won't it, Carl? The atmosphere will be outstanding. They'll have to manage it properly, but it'll be outstanding.
Andy, we've been around them Leeds fans in small numbers.
Yeah, well, Daz has. He heard the noise. He heard the noise in that last small hall show. You remember, Daz?
That were
Rotherham.
No,
Magna.
Yeah.
They were naughty, weren't they? And they're very Leeds. I think the Leeds fans. It's fair to say, the Warrington crowd are probably on a par with the Nottingham fans and Leigh Wood. They're right up there. I went to that last Warrington fight. I know Warrington lost, but before the fight, you know, the crowd were outstanding, mate. I have to admit that. So that has to be the fight to get made, and it's the big money fight for Leigh. It's the big money fight
and
now.
Beats Warrington. He beats him.
I was just about to ask you that.
I'll put that out there now. He beats him.
Daz, do you think he beats Warrington?
Easily.
I think he stops him early.
Easily. Probably. I'd more say middle to late, but yeah, I think he beats him easy. I mean, to me, you got that Figueroa. He's rated number 1, I think.
Navarrete.
And then Lopez is 3rd or 4th. You know, just get him in with them. Do you know what I mean?
I think he does the Warrington fight at the City Ground, and that's really, in my opinion, that's what Leigh. That's Leigh's last goal as a legacy. I know he would like to unify, but I personally think it's more important to Leigh to fight at the City Ground now at the end of his career.
But he'll have both.
He probably will have both. Yeah.
He'll fight in September. And then he'll go
do the Warrington fight, and then there's a very good chance he'll get that unification against.
And that could either be in America if he wants a big payday, or he could well bring him to Nottingham Arena.
Yeah. Either way, mate, he deserves it.
Or what about putting him on the Canelo card at Cinco de Mayo?
Timing's
that right?
Oh. Yeah, I mean,
I'm in the wrong job, aren't I? You know,
I
need to give Eddie a ring.
Be a promoter, mate.
Yeah, well, who's
that could happen, couldn't it? Thinking about it.
Who's Lopez now contracted to?
Is it Top Rank?
Is it Top Rank?
I think it's Top Rank.
I know the last fight was Top Rank, but I'm not sure he was with Top Rank, was he? That's Conlan's promoter. I think he was a free agent, wasn't he?
Yeah, I'm just looking. I mean, you've got this Figueroa as well. This Brandon Figueroa.
You've also got to consider the mandatory, because that's going to be pushed very soon, and that's that American lad. I can't remember his name.
Raymond Ford.
Ford. Yeah, close. He's got that high profile. That's why.
Yeah,
but he's mandatory, and then things kind of scupper up and get in the way, don't they?
Well, that could be your arena fight, couldn't it? Late this year, early next year.
Potentially. Yeah, potentially.
Or does he take him onto his own card in America? He's got options, hasn't he?
Why would Leigh do that? He's the champion.
Well, I'm just thinking, it depends what the money is.
That shouldn't matter. Drag him over here, make him come to Nottingham. Simple as. Leigh Wood holds all the cards, in my opinion. And
I mean, Ray Vargas. You got Ray Vargas. He's WBC champ.
yeah, they're all possibilities, Daz.
Yeah.
I still think he's only got 2 left, and I think it's 60 grand. Then he'll have a unification fight against Lopez and Amen for me.
Yeah, could be. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. Like I say, you got the mandatory situation, so you'll see. It might be a case of they can put the mandatory off for Warrington, but they might not be able to put it off for a unification. So he might end up fighting that forward.
Yeah.
Eddie Hearn might drag 3 fights out of him, but I guess you got to see how Lee's body is, because that's going to take him into the middle of next year. 2 fights. Yeah. It's going to take him to this point next year, maybe summer next year, and you don't know where he's going to be at, really, do you? At that point.
No, no. I've not seen much of that Ford, to be fair. I don't think I've seen him.
No, I haven't, to be honest. But he's got himself into mandatory spot, so you've got to take him seriously. I just want to say how much of an absolute pleasure it's been covering Leigh Wood over the last couple of years on this channel.
All the way from Clifton Leisure Centre to top.
Yeah, I was about to say that. As boxing fans, we've followed Leigh Wood. We've watched Leigh Wood from the very day dot fights, when Leigh Wood was really struggling to get promoted, when he was struggling for backers, when he was struggling at times for trainers. That Jazza Dickens fight, trained himself, and then still went in. Do you know what I mean? That tells you what the man's about.
He's done it the hard way. That's the truth, answer. He's done it the hard way.
I just wanted to touch on, for people that don't know Leigh Wood from Adam, that are just looking at him as a fighter and maybe don't know the person. We've been lucky enough as a channel to be in his company on a number of occasions, doing things with his promoters. And his Southbank Bar, Nottingham, we work in partnership with. They're one of Leigh's big promoters, and they do events that Leigh Wood attends, events for Leigh Wood, and we've been lucky enough to be there and attend and help out at times as well. And he's been nothing but an absolute gent to everybody that's been there. He has time for everybody. The man's a proper legend, and really cares about the Nottingham community.
Yeah.
So hats off to Leigh Wood. Congratulations, mate. You deserve this title. No one's ever, no matter what happens in future fights, no matter what happens in the future, no matter when you decide to hang your gloves up, no one can ever take away from what you've done in this ring.
He's not a flash Harry bone in his body, is there? He's proper humble. No. I'll go as far to say as man of the people. There you go, Dad. I've not called many people that ever. Leigh Wood is genuinely a man of the people. And Nottingham's very proud. Onwards and upwards. The story's not over yet.
So now me and Carl have had what people will call the biased opinion of Leigh Wood. Daz, tell us what your underlining thoughts are of Leigh as a person, as a champion.
He's one of the worst boxers I've ever seen, to be fair. no, I don't.
Here's my headline, Daz. Here's my headline.
Yeah. No, I don't. Like I say, as a person, I don't know him. I think I've spoke to him once or twice. It shows. Just said hello. I know someone who used to be in camp with him when he was trained by Ian Grant. Dylan was in camp with him quite a bit, and Dylan speaks highly of him. Says he's ever such a nice guy. Everyone says that, to be fair. So, as a fighter, what can you say?
He's old school, isn't he, Daz?
Yeah, he's a throwback, isn't he?
Yeah.
What can you say? I mean, I know he's sort of it's sort of the prime example is Tret losses his lessons. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
And I think he's the prime example of, let's not find excuses for losses. Let's find why we lost.
But also, he's not
Correct it.
returning, Daz, is there? He's not returning, because Eddie Hearn tried to convince him not to take this fight, to take the winner of Warrington versus Lauren. By all accounts, he was going, no. I'm next. Throw me back in.
Yeah, he's a throwback, mate. Yeah, he's a throwback. He probably hates losing with a passion, but I think he probably, when he has lost, he's probably gone away. And I wouldn't be surprised. You'll have to ask him, but in fact, I want you to ask him when you see him. He's probably one of them who maybe don't watch the fight for a day or so, but then he's probably one of them who'll sit and watch the fight for probably hours, 2 or 3 hours, and dissect what he did wrong. You know what I mean? And think, right, that's what I need to change. That's what I could have done better. That's what I could have done different. He just strikes me as that, and it's a perfect saying. It's not a loss. It's not a loss. It's a lesson.
Yeah, a little bit of props. We're talking about Leigh Wood, I know, and I don't want to come too much off it, but little props to Ben Davison and the team, because there's a young man in that stable. I can't remember what his name is now. The guy in the corner in the glasses.
There's Barry and there's Lee.
I think it's Barry, isn't it? He goes through. He's the guy that goes through painstakingly, goes through all the tapes of the fighters.
Video analyst, yeah.
Yeah, looks for all the little chinks, and then him and Ben Davison sit and work on it, and then they take it to Lee.
Yeah.
It's what they do as a team is absolutely outstanding. So I just wanted to give a little nod to them while we're talking about it. But back to Leigh Wood.
So just before you give a nod to them for doing that, then what sort of nod do I get? Because I do that on my own.
Exactly. But a lot of trainers
when Nicola wins a world title, Dad, we'll bring you on.
Oh, she's got to win a world title.
We'll give you some of the same treatment.
I'm not going to bother watching videos now. Then I'll watch when she fights a world title. I'm not watching them now. Wasting my time. I'll watch EastEnders.
Oh, I won't go that far.
No, it is, mate. To be fair, mate, not everybody's got that knack to look at and notice chinks. So I fully appreciate people who do that, because I think you've got to have a little bit of OCD in you as well. I know I have. So mate, honestly, we fight that's obviously been muted for Nick, which I've told you about. If it happens, mate, I feel like I know that opponent better than her own trainer.
And that's how it should be as a coach. But a lot of people, as you've just said, they maybe don't do that, and they might just concentrate on their fighter, getting their fighter to prepped, and maybe not look at. You
see that's why I took that with a pinch of salt of a day with Sugar Hill. Saying he don't look at, he don't look at opponents, sort of thing. I mean, I struggle to believe that, to be fair, but that's
right.
Another point.
Shall we bring it to an end, Andy? Obviously, remind people who cover the BT card and the Boxer card on Thursday. Dad, thanks for joining.
All right, mate.
Now we got a bit of a tradition that we normally do when Lee's one on this channel. I'm probably going to get hammered for this as well, but I don't really care. So, Andy, thank you for joining us as well, and we'll see everybody live Thursday, 7 p.m.